Hey everyone, welcome to the Next Project podcast. I'm here today with Next Project honoree Kaden Luker. He is a senior at Jackson High School and has been nominated by one of his former teachers for the Next Project, where people from our community can nominate young people who are doing awesome things, showing leadership potential, just being good people in the places that they're in. Kaden, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me today.
Yeah, you're welcome. I want to read a little bit of the nomination kind of before we get into talking a little bit more about some of the things that you're passionate about in life. It's a really awesome nomination. But your teacher wrote, Kaden is nominated for his research about how microplastics are harming our water and how we can eliminate microplastics from our water supply, in which he used 2 strains of common non-harmful bacteria to remove plastics in water. This research project was nominated for the International Science and Engineering Fair, the National Competition Stockholm Water Prize, and the Missouri State Competition. He is continuing his research this year and building a prototype so the bacteria can be introduced in polluted water sources. So first of all, that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about how this project got started and how it's developed as you have really looked into it?
So my first project that I did last year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, as I believe I told another reporter, it's always sad for me to see, like, if I'm ever in the car and I go down past, say, the Missouri River and I see it polluted and brown, it really makes me sad to see that, one, it's a primary water source that we use, and 2, any animals that drink from the water become sick. And I wanted to use 2 enzymes called metase and petase, but they were a little expensive. If I remember, $3,000 per vial.
Oh, yeah.
So I did some research about bacteria, and they're $12 per vial, so that's a lot cheaper.
Nice.
I chose 3 bacteria: Micrococcus luteus, lactococcus lactis, and bacillus cereus, mainly because they're excuse me. I wouldn't necessarily know how to describe the properties of a reaction. Like, for example, lactococcus lactis reacts with milk and cheese.
Okay.
So I wanted to use fairly safe. Bacillus cereus is more of a foodborne illness, so it's not too safe. So I wouldn't really use that. And then what I did was I grabbed around 9 jars of local stream water from my school, analyzed each jar, put the bacteria in their separate jars, like 3 for micro, 3 for bacillus, and 3 for lacto. And I introduced them to certain temperatures to see if temperature affected their biodegradation process. Waited a month. I saw that they were all fairly successful, but Micrococcus luteus performed the best.
That's so cool. So what is your hope kind of with that research then?
Well, my first hope was to go like nearly every water source, but I feel like it's a lot smarter or better to actually introduce it to smaller water sources like rivers, lakes, and streams, something more contained, and to make a healthier aquatic environment without using too much money.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you continued to develop that research this year then?
Yes, right now I'm using Micrococcus luteus primarily because as I said, it performed the best. And I wanted to see if the pH of water impacts the biodegradation process. Primarily a pH of 6, 7, and 10 to see if its basic or acidic properties impact the biodegradation process.
That's awesome. And how would that kind of help or like apply to the water sources then? Or what is your hope within that study?
Well, like if you're talking about like just regular basic water, it's around a pH of 7.
Okay.
But not every water source is going to be exactly 7. So I want to see if we could apply it to more acidic waters and more basic waters.
Okay. That's awesome. So cool. Where did your interest in science start?
My first thought comes to my 7th grade science class was with Mr. Bruns, and he was a pretty good teacher to me, and that's probably where I got my interest in science.
Yeah, that's so cool. What do you love about it?
Probably its applicability, how it could, for example, this right now took scientific effort. Our recordings took scientific effort. And our sewer systems and water drainage systems. That took a lot of scientific effort. And it just to me is like how it could change the world for the better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And you said that you are getting the research that you're doing now ready for the SEMO science fair?
Yes.
Awesome. Have you entered any other science fairs in the past or?
Entered, I wouldn't necessarily say so, but more like was eligible to.
Okay, cool.
For example, JAS, SJWP, and ISEF.
Cool. Very cool. What do each of those stand for? Where are those at?
JAS, Missouri, I'm not really sure what it means, but it was basically kind of like the state position level to where every kid that did a science project basically went up to there and kind of showed off their experiment. SJWP, Stockholm Junior Water Prize, is basically a national or U.S. national competition to where people or kids from 50 states that did a water project were able to go on to the international level. And the International Science and Engineering Fair, ISEF, was basically an international science fair.
Okay, that's so cool. That's awesome. Are you hoping to do something with science once you graduate, or what are your future plans?
My future plans are to be a cardiothoracic surgeon or a researcher.
Very cool. Yeah. Is that starting to get real with the spring semester kind of coming of your senior year? Or?
Let's just say I'm not ready for the AP test or don't really want to take them.
Yeah. It's all right. It'll be good. You'll get through it.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Do you have anyone or like anything in life who inspires you?
Does it have to be fictional or non-fictional?
It can be anything that inspires you or anyone who inspires you.
Probably my dog or Aunt May from the Spider-Man trilogy or Sam Raimi's.
Oh, very nice. What about what about your dog? And then what about Aunt May as inspiring to you?
Well, my dog just provides me with a lot of happiness and just the way, like she's a lab, so she's fairly smart, but let's just say what's behind her eyes is not really too much. Yeah. It's just pure love and bliss.
Yes.
And that's what I enjoy about her. And what I learned from Aunt May is just, a couple of key factors is forgiveness and that we all make mistakes. But it's what we choose, how to react to those mistakes is what makes us who we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so wise. Do you have kind of, with those words, do you have any other words or mottos that you live by?
It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me. Mm-hmm. And it is another quote, but I probably won't say word for word, but it goes along these lines. I believe there's a hero in all of us, one that makes us honest, makes us noble, and finally allows us to die with a sense of pride, even though, and sometimes we have to be steady, even though we may have to give up the thing we want the most.
Wow, where is that from?
Aunt May.
Very nice. That's awesome. So cool. Kind of outside of school and outside of science, what are some other things that you enjoy doing?
I like playing chess and drawing.
Cool.
Now I can't really play with my brother since he doesn't really like playing chess. So I had to play chess online.
Okay. Did you teach him how to play though, or?
I think my dad did.
Very cool.
But I'm not necessarily for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Chess is very difficult. I need to relearn. I haven't been patient enough in the past to learn. So, very cool. Is there so sometimes like adults kind of have misconceptions about young people. Is there anything that you would want young adults to know about your generation?
I probably had to say that this is, since I'm a part of Gen Z, man, I know not a whole lot of people look at Gen Z as being the smartest. And some of that can be true at times. But I'd probably say to old people is that if you're to look at our generation and our kids, just take a deep breath and realize that we made steps, even though there may be some downward spiral steps, we made at least a couple steps upwards. And that not all of our generation is bad.
Yep, that's for sure. As hopefully people see with the next project and with other peers that you have as well. So awesome. Thank you so much, Kaden, for being here with us today. Thanks for all of the work that you're doing in the world to make it a better place here. So thank you.